I
Okay,
see
I
it.
think we are live.
Looks live to me. I'm gonna just repost it right now. And all right, I think we are ready to build, yeah?
Ready to build. Vibecast number 2. Here we go. This time involving Bitcoin, which we didn't do the
Right,
first time around, and so I'm excited about this one.
right. So the point of this is we want to play around with a Gen AI idea in Bitcoin because we like messing around with Gen AI a lot. And we like messing around with Bitcoin. So is there any way to sort of bring them together? But even if you, dear listener audience, are not yet interested in one or the other of those, it's okay. This is just sort of an experiment in sort of marrying these two things that we are excited about.
Totally. And we're going to do this live. Maybe just quickly introduce yourself, DK. I'll do the same.
Yep. So once again, Vibecast 2, I'm DK. I am, grew up programming and had a love for it early on. Kind of did a bunch of stuff professionally in big tech and startups. And now I kind of end up vibe coding all day because it, again, brings me back to my, the joy of just youthful creativity that I had, 40 years ago. So revisiting all of those vibes every day.
Nice. Nice. Similar. I'm I'm a product manager by profession. Started at Google way back in the day. These days, I'm a product manager at Spiral, which is within Block. And there I do various things, including engaging with the design community, but also spending a lot of time thinking about how Bitcoin might be used more broadly out in the world. And I'm very excited about this space that we're starting to explore around creating new experiences using Bitcoin. So got into vibe coding in a big way. DK, you're one of my partners in crime on that front, and so we thought we'd do a podcast like this to share it with the world. And today you're going to drive, I believe. Last time we did this, I was driving in Replit. This week you're going to drive in Replit, so maybe you should share your screen.
Yep. Can I just share the Replit window?
You should be able to.
Okay.
Let's see.
Let's do share screen. Allow. Okay, can you see my Replit window now?
I'm going to add it to the stage. There it is. There it is. The world should be able to see it.
Cool. So part of why I think it's fun to do a Vibecast together is, both we learn from each other's style of how we prompt things and what we, sort of how we think about sort of problems. But also I expect by doing more of this, we will get more familiar with new tools. And so I am going to incept you on a new tool that I have just fallen in love with in the last 4 days, which is I happen to use one called Whisper Flow. There's one called Super Whisper. But the idea of when we vibe code, we speak to the computer instead of typing. It is a massive change, a massive improvement in how my vibe coding has worked. So I'm going to mostly do that, and we'll see if by the end of the session, if you're not speech pilled, voice pilled.
I'm excited to watch you do it. I haven't. You've been raving about it. I haven't yet tried it, so I'm excited to see you do it. And and it is kind of how Karpathy originally talked about vibe coding, is that he was just speaking to the machine. But I've always been a little bit skeptical of it, actually, because when I vibe code, I tend to be very kind of specific and terse about the instructions I'm giving, rather than the kind of more rambly, more detailed version that I expect to see come out of your mouth and into the machine. Yeah. So I'm very, very fascinated to watch this happen. So this is going to be part of the fun today.
We'll see. I've never tried it within this context, on a live thing, or even with Replit. I haven't tried it. So this will be a first for me too.
Cool. Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about what we want to accomplish. I think we try to time box it to, I think, a 90-minute session, but we kind of want to get a first rev up and published within the first hour if we can. Is that a rule? Or that's kind of our general?
Hour is the target. 90 minutes if we need it. But
that's the overrun. Okay. Yeah. So, and then we were talking about Gen AI and Bitcoin, and I think we keep returning to games a lot. You built a bunch of games. I built a bunch of games. And so, I think one of the ideas that we were talking about trying to accomplish is to figure out, there's this whole maybe category of games that may involve Bitcoin. And so instead of building a particular game in this example, we'll mostly focus on how do you let people kind of deposit some Bitcoin to play a game, and then maybe there's two people depositing Bitcoin, playing heads up, and then it disperses the Bitcoin to whoever the game judges to be the winner. So that's kind of a general mechanic, and then you can do it with like a very simple starting point of of like a random number generator could be the game, and maybe it's like even I win and odd you win or something. But that's kind of, I think, the setup for what we want to accomplish, right? Is be able to deposit Bitcoin from two different sides, have some sort of abstract game that we can plug in something else. We'll do maybe a random number generator to start.
Yeah. Then a payout to one user. Yep. And if we have time, we'll make an actual fun game mechanic transpire.
Yep. And then on that, I think there's Bitcoin itself, which has kind of got this on-chain, every 10-minute thing, which is probably too slow for most of these applications. And so we would want to use Lightning. And I think if we want to use Lightning, we want to use something like Lexi, which you've already done some prompting with in the past. So do you think we should?
I think, just to be clear, there's lots of different tools I think that people could use, vibe coders could use, to accept and send Lightning payments. I have had good experience with Lexi. It's a relatively new tool, and they're actually building out of Presidio Bitcoin. So I've met the founders, and one of the things that drew me to them is even in the documentation for their SDK, they give a sample prompt for vibe coding something to like using Lexi. So it's kind of been built with vibe coding in mind, which is how I came across it and tried it. And I've had good results. And so the plan today is to use Lexi for receiving and sending those Lightning payments. Yeah.
Cool. So do you think we should, I know you already have some prompts you've used to get Lexi to work well in the past, but we kind of want to start from scratch here today. So I have your prompt queued up that I can drop in later. But should we first start by doing a little bit of like just infrastructure prep, like a little bit explain to the LLM sort of what I already discussed? Is that sort of the starting point in your mind?
Yeah, I think the starting point should be let's build basic web application to do this basic game mechanic. And well, let's start the prompt. TBD how long it gets before we may in this initial prompt actually include the Lexi stuff. Generally, when I'm building something with Bitcoin, I do put the Lexi and Bitcoin stuff in the initial prompt so that it kind of like architects it with that in mind. If we don't do that, it maybe involves some kind of retrofit, which may be a little bit more of an unknown. But let's start by describing the basic game mechanic and then bring the Bitcoin piece to life.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do it the way I would with my voice. So ready?
Yes. Okay. So okay. I should stop speaking while you're speaking. Is that right?
Well, I don't think it matters. I think it'll only pick up the speech from my microphone. It's a local Mac OS application I'm running that it does. It's not going to probably listen to your stream. So cool.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I want to build a website that lets two people play a game together. And the basics of the game are going to be that each player deposits some Bitcoin in order to kind of initiate their play. And then there's some game process or game mechanic that happens in between. And then the website will make a decision about who is the winner of that game. And then it will make a payout to that person. Now, I mentioned Bitcoin, but we actually want to do it with Lightning because of some of the properties of kind of faster resolution and payments that Lightning provides. And I know about an API that makes Lightning really easy to implement, and that's called Lexi. So I can provide more information about that. But for now, we want to just get the basics of the website set up so that it can, have these two players and play a game, and then have kind of a result and decide the winner. And maybe the first game will be a very simple one. We want to keep it a little bit of an abstraction point here where we isolate the mechanics of depositing Bitcoin and deciding the thing from the actual result, from the actual game content. So let's think about them in abstractions and isolation, keep them kind of cleanly separate. But for the implementation of the game, let's start with just a simple random number generator. And the random number generator, let's say, one player wins if it's even and the other player wins if it's odd. So that's the basics of the first game. But what we really want to focus on right now is the infrastructure around the gameplay that lets the players arrive at a website, kind of coordinate around a game that they're going to play together, deposit some Bitcoin via Lightning, and then be able to receive Bitcoin as a result. So that's the basics we want to start with. Okay, so I let go of my button. I used the little function key, and now it's doing all the local transcription and whisper. I bet it's mostly done. Okay, so there's everything I said. So I wanted to build a website. 2 people play a game together. Each player deposits. So, okay, so it kind of looks to me like it got everything. I usually don't reread through the whole thing, so I'm just going to
Just
go ahead and start. Oops. You had a modification you wanted to make?
Well, I was just going to correct the spelling of Lexi to the correct spelling of Lexi in case it tries to do a web search for it here.
Yeah. So my guess is, we'll end up having to correct that before we move into build phase, right? Because it's going to. I think it's actually a nice part of how Replit works is you can kind of prompt it with sort of vague beginnings, and it doesn't start building right away. It used to, I think, start building right away, if I recall correctly. And now it actually takes you to this planning phase where it tries to tidy up your requirements into like a bunch of like line items and modules, and then it. Now it's searching the web and probably. Let's see if it is able to find it. It's got it, even with that incorrect spelling.
We might want to specify that it should be a Python web server because Lexi, the Lexi documentation or the SDK talks about it being in Python. That's what I've done in the past. Is it going to select Python or JavaScript?
I don't know if it has a default. Let's see. Show more features. Let's edit. And I'll say, by the way, the spelling of Lexi is not Lexi, but rather it's Lexe. So when you do the search to find out more about that API, look for Lexi, Lexe. And then we're, I think, pretty confident that Lexi uses Python, so we should build the game in Python. Okay. So I'm going to submit that as an edit.
Play, stake, and win.
Did that submit? I can't tell if that submitted right.
Agent is working. I think it should be.
Requesting edits will cancel in progress work. I don't know if I should hit resume or do I hit this? I feel like this is to complete this thing.
Yeah.
But when I tap it, okay, now it appears to be adding that consideration.
Good.
And we've got, it had a preview, play, stake, and win, and now it's removed that. So do you think the preview became unavailable because we switched to Python? Maybe it was building it in JavaScript or something?
It's possible, yeah.
Do you think these other initial version specs are kind of right? So 2 players can join a game session through a unique game room. That seems good. Players can deposit Bitcoin via Lightning Network payments. That seems good. Random number game mechanics, even odd, sure. Automatic winner selection and payout, and then real-time game state updates for both players, payment verification, and escrow management. So yeah, of those, is there anything you think it's missing?
I'm just a little bit curious how it's going to handle the idea of 2 players arriving at the website and trying to kind of marry them up synchronously to play a game together. We've kind of underspecified that, and so it'll be interesting to see how it handles it.
Yeah.
We might end up having to be a little bit more specific, but we'll see.
I agree it's underspecified. I I'm kind of optimistic it's going to figure it out because it knows that it's supposed to have 2 players can join a game session through unique game room. So like my guess is even though it's underspecified, maybe it may propose a weird UX because we don't really have identities tied up here. So maybe it's like, here's all the game rooms available, and you can enter one, and if 2
or you
people.
can create one and share a link to someone or something. It's the kind of
Yep.
that's what I
Yep.
might expect.
I see.
So what's it doing now?
I kind of like, I don't know, my general style with these things is to underspecify them a bit and see a little bit, unless I have like a really formed view about how it should work. I like to kind of just let it rip and see. It often comes up with very good things.
It is shocking. It is shocking how well it can do. I think, while this is building, I think you're aware that yesterday I was working on a different vibe coding project using Bitcoin, and I was experimenting with something called L402, which we may well in a future vibe class play with a little bit. And I spoke to one of the people behind the L402 spec who we know, and he was walking me through it. I was kind of understanding it, only vaguely. And then as I was prompting it, I was trying to communicate that understanding to the machine about a little bit about the sequencing, what it should try to do. I was trying to be quite specific, but then I recognized that I wasn't even super confident in my own understanding. And so then I just kind of bubbled all the way out and, made my prompt much more generic and just kind of, it was effectively like, here's the repo, make it work.
Yeah.
And it did. I just realized that I didn't have to get into the nitty gritty, in my prompt about like what it should do when. It's just like let it figure it out. And all credit to, in this case, Jordy and the people behind PewSats, which is the library that I was using, because their library, the README file and the repo was very well detailed and had very clear kind of sequencing that even if it was hard for me to understand as a human, the AI coding agent was very well able to understand it.
Yeah, I'm constantly shocked by how much it can understand about the world and software and what my expectations are, given a very light amount of detail.
I guess like one thing to keep in the back of our mind is that as much as we think we know about software, the AI has basically read all public code that is out there. It's hard to maybe accept that humility that this coding agent, like it just definitionally knows so much more than I do.
Yep. Yeah. One thing I've found in some of my recent, projects that I've been working on, I've been working on a lot of iOS apps, and one of the things that I hadn't done until recently is, I often have like an expectation, and so I ask for a feature, and then it builds it, and then I like, build and deploy, put it on my device, and then I test to see if it does what I wanted it to do. And just recently, I got into having it run the iOS simulator, and then have it write tests, like end to end, automated UI tests where it taps on all the things that I would be tapping on and make sure that it gets the right result. So I've gone from like every time I find myself in the loop on a vibe coding thing where it's like, okay, I do a thing, the machine does it, it hands it back to me, I do the thing. I'm always thinking, how do I get myself out of the way of that so that I can replace myself with another machine do the thing that I'm doing?
That's interesting, though. My kind of hesitation or worry in the back of my mind about that would be that I find a lot of the utility that I bring as the human being in the loop is a little bit of kind of taste and judgment and debugging something, whether or not this is good UX, bad UX, or if and how it, if it's broken in a particular way. Like that's kind of like what I'm adding, and I'm
right.
I don't know, like there's that kind of taste making that takes something.
Oh yeah.
As you know, like the vibe coding process is generally like something's broken and then you unbreak it slowly over time and make it better. I wonder how much you can actually succeed in getting yourself out of the loop, because you need to kind of unbreak it the right ways, always adding that element of like improving the UX, making it better, and I don't think yet anyway. Like you can automate something very simple if you can be very specific, like pressing button X should do Y, but a lot of the breakages are often unpredictable, and when you see them and inspect it and feel it in real life, it's like this is the way it should behave. It's actually kind of like an unknown that you're going and figuring out as the machine kind of presents you something as like an unknown. Is this good?
Right.
Is it good?
Well, I mean, I agree. I think the taste thing is the part that the human can do, and at least in the near term, doesn't appear that it's going to be replaced or replaceable. But I still find, when doing, I'd say the project I'm working on is a little bit more ambitious than some of the like little website hacks that I've done. Like it has, an iOS component and it's a messaging app, so it has like a messaging server, and then it has like these synthetic identities that are like these other servers that run through, and they sort of proxy between the iOS and the messaging server. They all communicate through that. So it has a lot of places where that can go wrong with like the WebSocket connections, and do they disconnect at the right times, and are they stable, and do they know the away and present state? So those are, I'd say, not really taste. Those are just like, oh, just get it done. Just do it the way a messaging app is supposed to work. But I end up being in the loop on a lot of that stuff. So the reason I wrote the UI test, I had to write the UI test, was I wanted to get out of the way of anything that's well understood. Like basically make it work so it kind of feels like WhatsApp or something. And then, and then I'll do the other layer, which is like, okay, what are the characters? How are they supposed to work? What are the features? That's the taste stuff, in my opinion.
Right.
Okay, it looks like we've got something now. Maybe we're not fully done yet, are we? Or we are?
No.
It says agent is ready. I think this means it's ready.
It did rebuild the UI, so I think maybe it did initially code something and then tossed it away when we told it to build it in Python instead.
And I always like to, with Replit, you can watch it in the preview, but I actually prefer to open it in its own tab, even though this is not a production ready tab right now. It's still
but it is it's a public URL, by the way.
Yep. Public URL, but I think it expires after 10 minutes or something, right? It just
something.
Okay, so Lightning gaming platform, play simple games with Bitcoin Lightning. 2 players. Okay, so it's explaining to viewers of the website. Current game is even odd. Both players deposit the same amount, random number. Yep. Okay, that sounds good. Stake amount. Okay, so it decided to use the Satoshi's language, which we.
That's fine. I know we're both kind of BIP 177 proponents. I don't like to confuse it up front, I generally, when I want to add, a Bitcoin symbol, I do it at the end. Like you just think in Satoshis and then we change it at the end. Stake amount. Let's lower that to maybe 1,000.
Okay, so 1,000, and then or enter room code. So this is exactly what you described. There'd be a create new game button, which it does. I would guess if I tap this, it's going to generate a room ID code, and I can give that to you over Signal, or you can see it here. Error creating game room. Okay.
Well, that's unfortunate.
So I think next step is probably just go right back.
Copy that error. Tell it that doesn't work.
So when I tap the create new game button, I get the following error.
The Super Whisper is particularly good for this format because you don't waste time typing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's like ideal for a live stream. So it can see the issue, a database relationship error in the models. Okay. I'm surprised that it missed that, actually.
Yeah, that's
feels kind of basic, the kind of stuff. Maybe they're experimenting with different models. Do we know? I thought Replit is kind of tries to abstract the models as much as possible. But do we know what? I'm pulling it up right now if I can. Do we know what models we're using?
Right there, it says if you use the high power model, it's
so high power is Opus 4.1.
I think the regular one is just Opus 4.
Okay, so it's a Opus 4, or maybe it's Claude Sonnet 3.7 or something.
No, they went all the way to 4. They upgraded to 4 a while back.
Okay.
Yeah, but maybe the default one is Sonnet, and then maybe when you click the high power, it goes to Opus.
My daily driver now is Claude Code with the max plan, with the super max plan. So I think it's $200 a month, and I get, I think basically I'm using it all day, every day, and I get like Opus 4 like all day, every day.
Wow.
So if you're using it a lot, it's very good. And maybe that's part of
you're just keeping the GPUs humming.
Yeah. I feel like I'm just always like, if it's not working, I need to come up with the next thing for it to do. So I'll like, if I've got some, I want to, I don't know, change a light bulb or do some chore or something, I'll sort of kick it off and then I'll go do something and then come back.
Right. Yeah. Okay, let's go.
Okay, does it fix the database relationship? By the way, do we need to relaunch this thing or we can just refresh it in place? I don't know. Okay, so we're going to drop the stake amount. Actually, I'm going to remind it. I'm just going to take a note to it.
Yeah.
Let's make the default stake amount 1,000 Satoshis. And by the way, we never want to use the term Satoshis, even though it's technically correct or commonly accepted to use the term Satoshis. We actually want to use the term Bitcoin here, but we want to interpret it as you are interpreting it as Satoshis. So keep the units consistent in that sense, but keep the label of the units to be Bitcoin. And I'm not actually going to submit that. Do you like that description or no?
No, it's good. It's a little bit high. It's a little bit high risk. I want to see if it's going to get confused.
Actually, I'll let it rip and see. Okay, so we've got this is the version where create new game should work, and it did. Okay, so waiting for second player. Share this room code. Do you want me to paste it into chat or something?
Yeah, paste it into Signal for me.
Okay.
Oh, and you'll need to send me the URL.
Ah, right. This should be that. Yep.
Okay.
And so I guess I can just wait on this. Do we expect this is just like a WebSockets thing and it'll just, okay, deposit required?
For me, it says game room is full. Hold on. Join game.
Oh. Oh, I actually love this on my mobile phone screen right now because I have the Replit mobile app installed. I can see the progress of this app. It's kind of cool that because the nice thing about Replit actually is I can do it very well both in front of my computer like this and I can do it on the road,
totally.
when I'm on my mobile phone, which
I make a lot of changes and I will like redeploy right from my phone. Like it's just it's incredible to do that on the fly.
That is the best thing about Replit that I really miss with Claude Code. Claude Code is like, I'm on Mac OS with Xcode open and doing my iOS stuff. And when I go to the gym, I can't make progress. I'm just stuck. Right. I could probably set up a remote environment and stuff, but I haven't done that. But with Replit,
it's a
I've always got it available.
Yeah, huge.
So good.
Huge. Okay, so we should tell it that when I visited that URL, I got an error saying that game room was full. And interesting, like the URL that you shared to me had the game room ID in it.
Oh, okay. Thanks for setting that up. I think we basically have the app, the main screen working well. I tapped the create new game button and it took me to a game room with an assigned ID number. I copied the game room ID and sent that to my friend. And then separately, I copied the URL and sent that to my friend. He visited the URL and he got an error that the game room was full, but so far it should not be reported as full because it should allow 2 players. I'm one of the players. He should be the second player, so he should be welcome in that room. So I think we have a bug here. Can you address that? Are you sold yet on speaking to your computer?
It's very good. It's very good. I am impressed.
This Whisper model, this is like the open source. OpenAI has this open source Whisper model, open weights, everything. You can run it locally. So there's a bunch of, this Whisper flow that I'm using does this, Super Whisper does this, but there's all these people who built like these wrappers around the Whisper model, but the Whisper model itself is just super good. Like it almost never gets the words wrong.
Remarkable.
It's
all running. It's all running local, so super fast. It's
so good. It's so fast. It's free. It's open. It's like, what more do you want? Okay, so it did change now. Stake amount Bitcoin and 1,000.
Okay.
1,000 minimum Bitcoin, and the max is 1,000,000 Bitcoin.
Okay.
So we'll see if that turns off any would-be players who are not aware of the unit changes we're proposing. 53 seconds to work. Agent's ready. So I don't know if I have to do this. Do I have to pop it out again? I'm going to create new game. And I'm going to hand you this URL, and it already has the game room in it in the URL, so I don't even need to
Yep. Correct.
share that.
Correct. Now on my
Makes me think I
side,
might.
it's loading. I just get a white screen. Yeah,
Do you
it
want
looks
to try
like it's.
refreshing or anything?
Oh, game room is full again. It took,
Hmm.
like about 10 or 15 seconds there, and then it said
Yep.
game room is full again.
Okay. So this says allows 2 players to join a game room without encountering errors is what it thinks it's doing. I just want to check through what it thinks it did here. I see the issue. Problem is likely how we're tracking player sessions. Problem is the logic that checks if the room is full. It might be an issue with the initial player creation, room creator logic, better session management, improved logging, fixed join logic. You created a room, became player 1. Your friend tried to join the system, sometimes wasn't properly recognizing you as an existing player. Okay. And so I just want to make sure that I report it properly. So it still works fine for me. Actually, I'll say it and then we can edit it.
But I was just going to tell it that when I hit the URL, it was a blank screen for about 20 seconds, and then eventually showed the UI with a error message in red saying that game room was full.
So similar error message to before. Identical?
Yeah, but it took longer to load, and
Okay.
what is it doing for those 20 seconds? It's anomalous.
Okay, so the last error that I reported, I'm seeing the identical error as before. I sent the URL to my friend that had the room code in it. This time, however, it took about 20 seconds where the screen was blank and there was nothing showing. We were worried it wasn't going to work at all. And then the actual game room came up as full again. So the same problem as reported before seems to still be occurring. It's really important that we get a fix to this, because if we don't have it fixed, we can't have 2 people join, and that defeats the whole purpose. So it's very important. Please focus on getting a good solution here.
Good job stressing the importance.
I find myself doing that. Normally I have kind of like a sort of I guess what you might call, I don't know, I don't have a very serious demeanor about a lot of my interaction. And then when I get trying to get this thing to do what I wanted to do, I get like very stern, and I'm really become like this taskmaster, very demanding, because I feel like if you kind of let it go and kind of like you're too casual with it, it thinks it's doing a good job.
You got to keep it on the rails.
Yeah. So you got to let it know your dissatisfaction.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm absolutely right. When have I not been absolutely right? That annoys me. I need to get it to stop doing that, because it's just like I just feel like it's so disingenuous.
It really is. You would expect. I would have expected them to tune these models to be much less sycophantic, just baseline. It's been so long like this. I'm kind of shocked that they haven't fixed this in general.
I suspect, I don't know if this is just a quirk of me, or maybe you agree, but it may be that broadly people like to hear that, like,
the positivity, the reinforcement.
Positivity, yeah. Whereas maybe it feels a little thin just after using it a lot, or just maybe we're just naturally skeptical of that kind of enthusiasm from a machine. I bet they keep it because it works. That's kind of my point.
Probably. All right.
Okay, I've completely rewritten. Let's go. Agent is ready. So I can just refresh this in place, you think, or I'm going to open new tab just to be safe.
It's good to open new tab.
Seems to be slower to load now. Makes me worry that maybe there is.
Is the URL right?
Doesn't look like it. It looks like it was reloading. Maybe it's forwarding or something. It's weird. I wouldn't expect it to be hitting a replit dice type of thing. I'm going to reload this one, and then I'm going to pop out a new. There we go.
Oh, okay. There you go. Okay.
Now we create a new game.
Yep.
At some point, I'm going to tell it that it actually should give me some sort of a share button that has the whole URL and not just the code, because the code by itself is not that
Okay.
useful.
Good
While
call.
you're testing that side of it, I'm going to go do that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, instead of giving me a code to share with my friend after I create new game, instead I'd rather it just have some sort of a share button and explain that it's sort of copying a URL, and then I can share that URL with my friend. And the URL itself will have the code in it. Okay. What are you seeing on your side?
Still just a white screen here. Nothing loading, but kind of consistent with last time. Expect it to snap in momentarily. See if it'll be an error or not.
By the way, it said added comprehensive logging to track exactly what's happening when players join.
Yeah, so
So
okay, so game room is full again, same error. So what I would do if I were you, when you prompt it now and telling the agent that it's, we're seeing the same error, I would explicitly ask it to consult the logs. Can you,
yeah, yeah,
please consult the logs and help me diagnose what's going on here. Why is it failing?
yeah. That's a good point. And also, by the way, if we actually look at what it output, it doesn't think it's fixed. It only thinks it has added logging.
Okay.
So yes, exactly what you're saying is just kind of re-emphasize the point, but I think that's where it's headed. Okay, so we have properly run from the new version of the software, and my understanding is you fully instrumented this to try to track down the problem. We've re-executed the same sequence. I create the game, I share a URL with my friend clicks the URL and has the same error experience. So we should now have access to the logs that you instrumented just a moment ago. And so please analyze those logs and figure out what's going wrong and why my friend can't join. The game should be designed to accept 2 players, and I am one player who creates the game, and my friend is the second player who should be able to join. So there's definitely something wrong, and we definitely need to fix for it now. There's me being stern again.
Let's see. I'm always impressed when the agent goes ahead and like adds a bunch of logging on its own to help diagnose
Yep.
it. And obviously, I think most programmers would agree. Like that's just how you fix things. Just like
Yep.
lots of debug output and see what does the code actually say it's doing.
I find I do
Um,
that a lot. I ask it to instrument things when I even think there's like a little bit of a performance thing. Like in the Xcode console for an iOS app, you can often see if there's like, a second or two to perform a action. And then you can just like tell it, hey, I'm concerned about the slowness of this interaction. Can you instrument some logging here so that we can get to the bottom of why this is happening? So I like that Replit here figured out to do the logging, but I use it a lot proactively to try to solve problems that I think would help it by having that kind of logging or better understanding of what's actually going on.
That's cool.
Yeah, logging, instrumentation, performance analysis, testing, those are all topics that I've recently been doing a lot more of in the kind of Claude Code iOS context.
Cool.
Okay, so it says, please test again now. I just want to get a sense.
Yeah, I love reading the chain of thought.
Okay, so it does see I successfully joined. It says you successfully joined, and it moved to waiting for deposits, but then there's a third attempt. Your friend is getting multiple sessions when they try to join. First attempt succeeds, but something like a page refresh or WebSocket. So this attempt creates a new session. So it sounds like you're showing up as player number 2 and player number 3, and you're getting rejected as player number 3, and you probably just can't see the UI that says player number 2, deposit your money.
Maybe you should be clearer with it just to explain that I'm seeing a blank page for 20 or 30 seconds. It just sits there for 20 or 30 seconds. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe did it? Hold on.
Yeah,
Okay. It says it tried to fix it, so let's see.
Yeah, it thinks it has a solution. So let's see if there's anything different that happens. Okay, here's my share URL. I like that.
Nice.
I'm going to send that to you over text.
Here we go. Still just a white screen.
I'm a little concerned about this page I'm looking at because is it am I just going to hold here and it'll give me an invoice after you join? Oh, it just did change to create lightning invoice.
Okay. Now it says game room is full, maximum 2 players are allowed. So the error message is a little bit different now. I just sent you the exact error message that I'm seeing. But intriguing that your game state on your side did advance, right?
Yep. I suspect it made some progress here, but let's explain what went wrong. Okay, it looks like we made a little bit of progress toward a solution, but we're still having this very critical error that I mentioned. So I do create the new game and share the URL with my friend. I am then sitting there in the game state looking at the share screen, and then when he clicks on it, he sees it hang for a while and eventually provides an error, which I'll paste the text of in a moment here. But it does seem to properly advance my game state to request a Lightning invoice. So I do feel like we have made progress, which indicates that I think this second player that you claim exists does indeed exist. I think what's happening is you mentioned maybe a WebSocket issue or something, but I think what's happening is my friend is joining as player number 2, and then he's also joining as player number 3 or player number N. And the only UI he's able to see is player number 3 or player number N. And there's actually a UI, maybe it's buried or hidden somewhere, but or maybe it hasn't constructed this UI, but you need to construct the UI to show him his player number 2 that actually is valid, and make sure that this player number 3 through N do not get created. So we need to be very careful about the creation of player number 2 and then immediately stopping the creation of additional characters or sessions or additional players or sessions. So I'm going to let that go in, and then I'm going to paste in the error, and then that's it. Then we'll let it crank on that a little bit.
Let's see what it does. That's a lot more detail than I would ever provide it. And
yeah,
I'm a little bit concerned about your hypothesis.
You wouldn't give it a hypothesis?
No.
Meaning the player 3 through N hypothesis? Is that the thing that concerns
Or
you?
I mean, it just to me seems like maybe like kind of too deep down this hypothesis avenue.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you're seeing the error, but we are seeing a player number 2. Do you believe that your web browser visiting that URL is what creates player number 2, or you don't think that's the case?
I think player number 2 is getting created. Maybe player 3 is getting created somewhere else. You know, which UI is being rendered for which player is unclear. I'm not sure. I'm concerned that I see a white screen for so long.
I'm just going to try asking. By the way, I haven't tried this new version of the software you just wrote, but I just wanted to highlight the fact that my friend who I sent the URL to sees a white screen for a long time. And I wondered if there's any instrumentation you may already have or could add around that to help us understand if that white screen may give us more information about the problem or what's happening while he's seeing that white screen. But anyway, you don't necessarily need to fix anything right now. We're going to go test it. I just wanted to highlight that and ask if that elicits any ideas from you. Okay.
So
And I'm going to
should have a new
close
version
this.
to test, John.
Should have a new version to test. So I'm going to pop out here.
Maybe just do
Still
the refresh
rendering.
here. Oh, maybe now because it's
White screen is actually a very important clue. Oh, so you're just gonna
in your preview. Try refreshing there. Oh, okay.
This may be before it seems like it's doing some instrumentation now. This may be before the instrumentation actually.
Still white screen.
Okay.
Oh, game room. Here we go.
You got
Deposit required. Yeah. Did it switch on your
you're
side? Yeah.
Yeah, so you're on a similar screen to what I'm seeing.
Yeah, same.
And you're in that 4C63, that
Yep,
same room?
yep, yep.
Great.
So I'm
Okay.
going to
I'm
click
going to create the invoice.
creating invoice, spinning as it should. It doesn't know what to do yet. Okay, that's great.
Why does it not know what to do yet?
Oh, because I'm not confident that it's actually wired up anything with Lexi because we haven't given it the detail for my prompt about like downloading the sidecar.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
like you need to like
Yep.
start the sidecar. We need to give it the credentials for your Lexi node, right? So all of that stuff, this is what I
Okay,
expect.
so I'm going to copy the thing. Are we ready to kind of tell it thanks, it's working, and then move on to the
Yep.
next
Yep. Say,
bit?
okay,
Okay.
great. The game, game state, room state. Well, it now maybe did it make changes?
No, I think we're using the latest version.
Okay.
So
Um,
okay, so I think that worked. I gave the URL to my friend. He clicked on it. It brought him to a similar game state that I'm in, where it's requesting to generate a Lightning invoice. Next up, we actually have to make that work, and that's going to require Lexi, again, Lexe, that we discussed. It's going to require that. I'm going to paste some text here that's going to help us do the Lexi integration properly. Does that sound right?
yeah, that's fine. Now paste in what I said. Just make sure that it all sounds reasonable, kind of joining up to what
Start
you
by
just said.
downloading this. First thing the backend should do is spawn the Lexi sidecar. And then this Lexi credential we don't have here, but we're going to store it in a secret in Replit, right?
Correct. Yep. So it should prompt you for that.
And then, so I'm going to submit this. Okay, so let it rip. And then it should prompt for that. And then when it prompts for that, I'm going to grab that from the Lexi iOS app I have installed on my phone. And then I'll paste that in as a secret into the Replit secrets, right?
Correct.
Cool. This generally looks good. It's unzipping the sidecar.
I think, yeah, I'll be interested to see this work, doing the Bitcoin in the second step. Previously, as I mentioned, I'd often kind of roll that into an initial prompt. But what it would often do is okay, great. So it's now going to prompt you.
So it's asking for the Lexi client credential. And I guess I probably should stop screen sharing while I paste it.
No, it's fine. The credential is about like 1,000 characters, and so no one is
so
going to
nobody
see
will be able to read it. Okay.
No.
So
and it's actually going to go into this UI with little dots, and so no one's going to see anything.
Okay. So I'm opening the Lexi app. I'm tapping on the hamburger menu, and then I'm tapping on the SDK clients link. I'm going to create a new client. I'm going to call this Lightning Dice, just because that's corresponds to the Lightning Dice. That corresponds to the name that Replit decided to give it. Now I've got this client credential. Ooh, I wonder actually, is there a well-known place in Replit? So I have it on my phone right now on the copy paste buffer on my phone. Is there a place I could go in the Replit app to add that secret from my phone? Or do I have to paste it in here?
I think you have to paste it where you are right now. So I usually just copy it. You're on iOS, right? So if you copy it to the pasteboard in the cloud, if you paste on your machine right now, it should work, no?
Really?
Do you not ever use cloud-based copy paste?
Maybe no. I'm gonna double check if that worked. I just pasted whatever was in my paste buffer, but oh yeah,
you might have.
Wow, okay, that did it. I think it did it.
Did you paste it somewhere else to confirm that
Yeah,
it
I
was the
pasted
right?
somewhere else to confirm and it was the right thing. I didn't know that iOS
I
and
can't
macOS
believe you've never
bridge.
used this feature before.
Oh my god, no. Yeah, I'm always like pasting things into notepads because I didn't realize it was so sophisticated. Very nice. See, I told you, by doing these things, we just learn about tools better, right?
TIL.
TIL, indeed. Okay, so we've got a new rev of this.
What's it? Hold on. No, did it finish?
Oh no, it didn't. It can see the Lexi credentials now available.
It's still working.
And do I?
Yeah, it's still working.
I would need some value in my Lexi app if I want to use that to do the invoice, right?
You don't need any balance in Noxy, no?
I just mean if I want to use it as a player, not as the receiver.
Oh yeah, or you could use any other wallet, your Phoenix wallet or
Yep.
whatever you have to pay, right?
Yeah.
In fact, I think it's a better test if you're using another wallet to pay. Just
okay, I'll use Primal. Yeah, I have Primal set up. So if I use Primal to pay, what's going to happen here? Is this going to go, like, is my player deposit going to go into my developer Lexi wallet?
Correct. That's what we want to see. Yeah,
and then
my deposit should also end up in your Lexi wallet. That's what's going to happen. And then whoever
and then
wins,
the payout will happen from my Lexi wallet.
Yeah, and it'll generate an invoice to scan for the payout.
Awesome.
Well, let's see. That's what it's supposed to do. Let's see.
And by the way, while we're waiting for this, we could talk a little bit. I mean, I think we've talked about a lot of different game concepts, and we've thought it would be awesome to have almost like a Bitcoin arcade. So this is sort of like infrastructure that would power a Bitcoin arcade. And we're just sort of like, the first game is an even odd dice like game, but we could build a million different games that are all paid out in Bitcoin. But in order to run this properly, we probably want to build the arcade game and software, but we don't want to actually custody any of the funds that players may be using with each other, right?
Yeah.
So if we're going to do that, do you have a sense of how we would do that, or like that's still kind of an open-ended research problem?
As far as I know, it's still an unsolved problem of kind of how to escrow funds temporarily, non-custodially, in a way where an outcome could then drive the dispersal of those funds. I'm not aware of a service or library that allows that yet. I think that it'd be cool. And if someone out there knows about it, please let us know. It'd be a useful piece of infrastructure. And I am similarly. Go ahead, DK.
I was going to say, I think it is part of the implementation for how Lava works. Today, I think they've done DLC work to do that, but I don't think it works in a Lightning context, which is really what we need here.
Yeah, exactly. And even just what we're working on today, if assuming we get this working, eventually I would expect this to get packaged up nicely into a library. This notion of N players kind of commit funds to a pot, get paid out based on mechanic, like that would be a nice kind of wrapper that could then be used in vibe coded from, for instance.
Yep.
Okay, we can try a real test here, DK?
Yeah. So I just sent you a new URL for a new game room I just launched.
So this is a bit of a moment of truth.
We'll see.
It's possible that everything could work right now.
We've got an easy 7 minutes of cushion left. I'm skeptical it will actually.
Bitcoin wallet ready to pay.
I'm skeptical it's actually going to work right now, but
I think it's going to work. I think it's going to work.
I hope you're right.
Optimistic.
So
I'm still on white screen though.
You're still on white screen. Okay.
It's kind of shocking how long this takes to load. I don't quite understand that.
I bet we could ask it to improve that and kind of explain that it kind of works, but kind of not. Are you still stuck there?
Yeah, I'm still on the white screen. Let's give it a few more seconds, and because you're once my player loads, your screen will advance. I mean, we saw that happen last time.
Yep. Which actually points to maybe it introduced a different type of bug or regressed somehow, because mine used to change even if yours wasn't showing you the right thing. Mine was showing mine.
Yeah.
I think it's not working.
Yeah, I think it's not working.
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
You too?
Yep, good. Okay, you click create Lightning Invoice. I'll let you make the first payment. I want to see if it works. Spinning, spinning.
Creating invoice.
It should. No, it didn't do it.
I mean, this is the first time it's tried to create an invoice with the Lexi implementation.
Right. It shouldn't be this slow. It's not going to work.
Okay. So should we report on the white screen still existing and report that the creating invoice seems to be hung, and ask for maybe some logging on each of those?
Given that it eventually worked, ignore the slowness for now. Let's try to get everything working, and then we can
Okay.
diagnose the slowness on
So we'll just
the
talk
second
about
player side.
creating invoice hanging, right, on
Yeah,
my side.
exactly.
Can,
Yeah,
can you just try tapping your create invoice and see if it also hangs in a similar way? Just in case that would add anything to.
yeah. And by the way, I expect the initial thing that it'll do is it'll show you the invoice text string, and then the second thing we'll do after that is ask it to encode that string in a QR code for payment. I don't think it'll do the QR code automatically without us instructing it to do so, but we should do that in a second step.
Yep. Okay, so you're just creating invoice infinite
Yeah,
spinner
it's
like that
spinning the
too?
same way. Yeah, so
Okay.
I see the same failure you do.
Okay. Okay, so it looks like we might be making some progress. I got to the game room, and my counterparty friend got into the game room as well. We each got the button that said "generate invoice" or whatever it says, and I tapped the button. I waited for quite a long time, and it just seemed to be spinning. I would expect it to return with some sort of an invoice, which may be a text string or ideally a QR code. And it didn't work for me. I left it spinning for quite a while. So I think there's something wrong there. I would suggest you instrument the usage of the Lexi API and everything around this, some instrumentation to understand what's going wrong, because I bet there's something going wrong under the hood that's going to be hard to diagnose just looking at the UI. And then my friend who I'd sent the URL to also clicked his generate invoice and similarly just went spinning. So I think there's just a problem with how the Lexi integration is working. And so I'd like a lot more instrumentation and focus on that. And we need that to be resolved, and we need it quick.
And we need it now.
Because we only have 3 minutes before the hour ticks over.
I might have also just added a question to it to confirm that the Lexi sidecar is running, because that's been a
the Lexi
type of.
credentials have invalid base 64 padding. So the sidecar is failing to start. So I figured that out. It's not running.
Okay, can you go and look at your the string? Do you still have that pasted somewhere? Or just copy and paste it again.
Yep.
Uh,
Well,
and just
okay, it's not
tell
in
me
my
what
page
the
buffer,
last.
but
Yeah, you just go
I
copy
can
it
open it
again.
again. Yeah.
Yeah, and see how it ends. There was a bug in a version of Lexi where sometimes when you paste it in, it would kind of like incorrectly add an equals 0 kind of like at the end.
So I think I can't see it. I can only delete it and create a new one, right? But I don't think I can revisit one that is already saved.
Mm,
That's
if you
it's
go to
kind of
your
a common pattern
yeah,
for
maybe
like,
if you go to your secrets UI in Replit, well, can you click like kind of view?
let's see. I'm going to do this. I just don't know if that's a sensitive part of the app. Where's secrets? Is that in account?
If you go to the plus sign, you click add a tab next to preview plus, and then type secrets. On
I'm
either
on.
you go click the plus sign next to one of the tabs on either
I'm
side
on
of
a.
your screen.
Yeah, I'm on a separate browser just because
Yeah, if you just
secrets might
type
be sensitive.
secrets.
So under search and commands or no?
Uh, I only know how to get there kind of like within an app, like if you have an app loaded. So just
Okay,
go
I'll
into this
just do it
app in
right here.
another.
So
Just type
here,
secrets.
secrets, Lexi credential.
See, there is the view, and then scroll right to the end. Can you? Or
No.
just copy it. Double click the whole thing and copy it.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then look
then
at
go to
this.
another screen and
Okay, yep.
inspect the
I'm looking.
termination
I
of
just
that string.
pasted it. Yeah. So I have the end. So it doesn't have an equals like you mentioned. It just ends in like NJBLLN0.
Okay. So that seems correct.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not the bug that I thought for the encoding. Now, what did it scroll up?
Well,
Did
it did recognize that that the sidecar was failing to start because of a Lexi credential base 64 padding. So it tried to do lightning service, but should be lightning service camel case with the paren. I kind of feel like it's talking the right game here. So
it says try real lightning first if your credentials get fixed. I don't know.
What does that
There's
mean?
something fishy. I'm not sure. I'm concerned that it complained about the encoding of the credential, but let's try it.
I kind of want to let it rip.
Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, so I'm sending you a new share
We're at
URL.
noon. We're at noon. It's 1 hour.
All right, this is our hour. Are you seeing the white screen now?
I'm still seeing the right screen now.
Okay. Mine still shows 1 of 2 players joined.
Still white screen.
Do you think we should tell it about the white screen and readdress that, or do you think we should wait and it'll...
Let's just wait. I think, you know, both of the times when it worked, it did take excessively long, but eventually worked. I'd like to see this through and see if Lexi's working.
Okay, deposit required.
Oh, I got game room is full, maximum 2 players allowed, but why don't you go ahead and try creating the invoice? Yeah.
What if you were to take that same URL and try another tab or another browser or private mode or something?
Well, it says room's full, so I don't think it's
Oh,
gonna work.
yeah, I just meant to see, does it immediately report that it's full now that it's did the white screen thing on your main attempt?
Got it. Okay. Private browser. Let's see.
It says creating invoice.
And my private browser is still spinning for a long time. And your creating invoice taking too long. It's failing.
Yeah.
It should
Okay,
be
so should we...
like, you know, 5 seconds. We can kill
Yeah.
this.
Okay. Do you want to, should we just tell it that the spinner, you know, the generate invoice is broken, or do you want to try to address the earlier stuff at all?
Just that. I think just we'll continue down the path of getting the Lexi integration working, and then we can bubble out and get the game state management fixed again.
Okay, so same sequence that I've been doing before, but when I get to the generate invoice, I tap that and it continues to just infinitely spin there. So that, I think the Lexi integration is not working. It's very, very important that we have the Lexi integration working. And so everything about the Lexi integration should have instrumentation around it. We should try to understand, is the Lexi sidecar actually running? Because if it's not running, obviously the rest of this is not going to work. So you mentioned before about focusing on the Lexi sidecar running. Please continue to focus on that and get to the heart of why it is or isn't running. And then if it is running, what else around it might be causing a problem? Because I'm tapping the generate invoice button, I'm getting an infinite spinner, but I'm not being presented with an invoice in the form of a text string or a QR code. So it's definitely not working yet. Okay.
Let's see what it says.
I'd like to just mention the QR code thing, because I thought before when I did something, it actually defaulted to choose a QR code. I did something with a Lightning payment vibe code thing a long time ago, and I thought it just like naturally showed up with a QR code. So I like to just mention that would be my expectation without sort of making it a feature specific, but just kind of tell it, hey, wouldn't it be nice? Of course, I'm absolutely right. When have I not been absolutely right? Okay.
Lexi
Payment
sidecar
type
won't
not
start. Okay, well,
imported.
that's a problem.
Invalid credentials. why would it be invalid because of encoding, or is there any reason that my credentials might be broken? I set my Lexi sidecar or my Lexi app up with my own credentials kind of a long time ago, maybe a couple months ago, and I haven't been very active using the sidecar in
I
any
don't,
way. So
I don't think there's any reason that that should break. I mean,
okay,
we could also try, I could generate a client ID to use my Lexi node if you want to
oh,
try
and
that.
this seems to say Lexi credentials are actually valid base64. That's not the issue. The problem is the app is crashing because payment type doesn't exist.
Okay. But it also
So
sounded like the sidecar was not running.
correct. It's not running, but it's not running for a. It believes that the credential looks valid, but that it's not running for this payment type reason.
Oh, look like the, come
Come
on.
Yes.
That's silly.
Wait, it does see that that's a problem, but is it going to fix it?
No,
I think
just
it's
tell it to, it should use the
recognizes.
secret. It needs to use the secret there. I've never seen it fail on that. That's absurd.
Okay, there's a placeholder variable called $Lexi_client_credentials that was in the original thing that I pasted to explain how to use the Lexi integration, but that variable needs to be replaced with the secret, the actual credential secret that I pasted into the Replit secret. So that needs to work. Okay, I prepped that, but I haven't submitted it yet. Do you think this new text we saw here is likely correct?
I don't know. You have to go. We have
Bypass?
to read. We have to read more about the train of thought.
Okay. No. So
Demo.
what it did here is all wrong. So when I see this happen, rather than try to fix it, I usually roll back to the previous step. So I
So
would
you
roll
would.
back.
I'd never use rollback. So you just tap this, and then you're like,
Yeah. Okay. Well, hold on a second. Copy and cancel. Copy and paste your prompt.
so we'll cancel this prompt that I was about to
Yeah.
submit.
Yeah.
So we'll roll back,
Yeah.
and then we'll roll back to this checkpoint.
Yeah.
Is this the right button? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then paste that prompt that I had just. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What should I do now? Why am I adding to queue instead of just submitting? It says it's finished reverting. What should I do now? Is it really a queue?
It's going to pick it
issue?
up. It's going to pick it up.
Okay, right away. But it's weird. I've never used the queuing stuff really.
It's just
I
if
guess
it's
I use
busy
it
doing something, it just puts it as the next thing to read. And so as soon
because
as
it's
it finishes that,
optimizing agent memory right now. So that's the.
yeah, it'll
Is that
go
why we
pick it
needed
up.
to queue it?
Yeah, whatever that means. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of cool that it figured out that the Lexi. Oh, is that spelled? That's the wrong spelling. Okay.
Yeah, it should figure it out.
Okay. The placeholder is being used literally instead of the actual secret. Okay, it's going to change that. Good. This sounds promising. Let me check if there's a literal placeholder. Secret exists, but the sidecar is still getting invalid. Actual credential value might have formatting issues. The sidecar is literally seeing the text. The secret is properly loaded. The issue is the sidecar binary isn't actually getting the environment variable.
Okay, it'll fix it now.
So you're feeling the shell environment isn't properly inheriting the secret. Okay, that seems like a promising progress.
Great. Good. I've never had it fail like this before. It's interesting. I've used Lexi a lot, and this has never happened.
Is that because you didn't have that placeholder secret separation? Like usually paste that prompt with your own.
No, I usually do it this way. I say
Okay.
I give it that kind of placeholder and then tell it to get the environment variable.
and seeing the Lexi credential still.
Oh, that's absurd.
Maybe Sidecar's reading from a config file. So, I mean, all of this, I think these are like reasonable ways to screw up, but they do turn out to be kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
Okay. Sidecar might be reading from a config file. I mean, it rendered a new UI, but it doesn't
No.
claim to be done yet.
No, it's not. It's not.
Why does it say demo invoices? Is there some switch in Lexi that says only do demo invoices?
No, where does it say demo invoice? Let me test the invoice generation now. It should work perfectly with demo invoices.
Do you know why it would be?
No,
Why it would
well,
be doing demo invoices?
no, it's messed up. It realizes that it's failing, and then it's like, well, I'm designed to handle this graceful failure, and I'll create fake invoices, instead. Right. So again, like it's now doing the wrong thing. Like we have to kind of like reassert
Should
that.
we
No.
pause it and tell it something different?
Uh,
Or it's going to
it's
get
just-
queued anyway. Is there some way to kill?
I don't know. Like that's
usually
one of my
hit-
frustrations with Replit is like you can't kind of parallelize it. Like if you hit pause and you hit resume, it's going to go back.
But if I
to what it was
give it a
doing.
new command, I can.
It'll
It looks like
it'll be in the queue, and so it won't interpret it right away.
I see. Okay. Okay. So what should we do now? I think we can tell it, hey, this is all wrong. Let's restart the Lexi approach. Should we try something like that?
Well, what I might do actually is like this is not the right thing, but in the name of making progress, I might go into the secrets panel, copy the secret, and then paste it into the thing here. Say just use this as the credential. Like this is something is fucking up with
Yes.
how
Okay.
Replit is trying to pull the secret, which again I've never seen that before. We shouldn't be doing
So
this.
the Lexi secret is probably not properly getting loaded, and that's probably why the Lexi sidecar is not able to work. And I believe it has, it sounds like there could be something wrong with the config, or it could be something wrong with how it's getting it from the shell. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a very risky activity here that should not ever be done in production, but we want to do it in order to get this thing working, to prove to ourselves that it works. And after we prove to ourselves that it works, we might clean it up or do it a cleaner way. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to paste the Lexi client credentials secret directly into this chat. And I want you to use this secret that I'm pasting to get the sidecar started. And now here's the secret that I pasted, and I submit it.
Didn't see the secret get pasted.
Yeah, it kind of did like a file attachment here.
Aha.
I think that's just because it was kind of long, but you can see it begins with EYJS. We need to get this working first to prove the concept, then we can clean it up later. Let me use the credential you provided directly in the code to bypass any environment variable issues. I think this is actually a good instinct. I don't think I would have tried it this way, so I'm glad you proposed it because I think this will actually force it to work.
Let's hope.
I think I'm often probably a little too conservative about trying to keep it kind of the way it should be. So it's nice to have the push to just like let it rip and get this.
Well, if I was on my own, I might have similarly just tried to do it right. But in the name of trying to get something working quickly,
the live stream,
it's this shortcut.
We'll just brute force our way through the problems. So like, let's just imagine while it's working, let's imagine that we do get this working. Do you see a good way to go clean it up? Like, I feel like part of cleaning it up is create a new Lexi client credential that doesn't have the key credential leaked out. So that's one thing. That's pretty easy. But would we create the Lexi client credential and then would we tell it like rip out the entire Lexi integration and redo it with this new knowledge that we have the secret stored? Or is there a different way
That's
to
what I would
approach
do.
Okay.
I think that's what I would do exactly.
Do you think it makes sense to try to break the problem down? Like, would you maybe say, hey, before we integrate this into the app, let's make sure that we get the sidecar launched?
Right now, you mean?
Just like, let's say we want to break this down to make sure we got it working kind of the clean way. Do you think getting the sidecar verifiably running is like an important
Yes.
step
Yes.
before even?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And just to be clear, the sidecar is like a server that runs the Lexi code. It's a server that runs Lexi's code to generate QR codes, generate
It's
invoices, receive.
as I understand the sidecar, it's a binary that exposes a very simple API to your server to do like a small handful of things like get balance, create invoice, or pay an invoice. Okay, so it has this simple RESTful API that you send instructions to, and then the sidecar takes care of actually speaking to your Lexi node for you.
This is not good. It says the sidecar process is still becoming defunct, which means there's still an issue with the credentials format. Is it possible? I'm just thinking through because I've never done the copy paste the way you showed me. Is it possible that something got lost in that? Like maybe I'm wondering if I just create like I'm gonna create a new credential called LD2, which is like Lightning Dice 2.
It's worth trying that. I mean, my smell test is that 2,916 characters is about right.
Yeah. Weird. And this thing that I just created a new one, but it has a very similar appearance to the original one. That's so strange. Maybe this is a detail of how Lexi works, but the new one that I just copied, the Lexi client credential is it identical? Could it be identical to the one that I had from before?
I would think not.
Because there's a public key that's different. So Lightning Dice SDK client in Lexi says there's a public key B092 for the original one. And then the new one I created has a public key of 0FFD8. So LD2 is a different one. But the underlying thing that I copied, the beginning of it and the end of it look very similar to the one we're currently using.
I've just sent you, I created a client secret myself. Do you want to take a look at the one I sent you? Just kind of compare it for...
Yes, you sent me this over Signal?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, maybe they always begin with EYJS or something.
They do. Yeah, mine do.
Okay. Yeah, mine start ZXHL X2 F1D GHFD G9. Mine is like, whoa, could it be that they're the same? That wouldn't make any sense, right? How could these be the same? The beginning is the same. It takes quite a while before it gets to be different. But the end of the one you sent me and the end of this one is different. So what should we do? Do you want me to, should I grab the new one I made? Should I grab the one you made? Should we try to?
Try using mine, because that, I've used my Lexi node more recently than you have yours. And so let's see if that works. We'll just actually read up in the chain of thought for your Replit agent and see what it's done here.
Okay, what do we have? Credentials are being loaded. Sidecar process becoming defunct. See the sidecar is going defunct. Web application. Sidecar will time out and fall back to demo mode.
Yeah, no, we don't want that. Okay, so say here's a new client. Here's a new Lexi client credential. Try this one.
Here's a new Lexi client credential. Try this one. Did you have something else you wanted to say?
No, I was just going to say, and confirm we can get the sidecar up and running with it before proceeding.
And confirm we can get the sidecar up and running before proceeding. So I'm going to paste the one you just sent me.
And the original code also told it to speak to the sidecar process on a specific port 5393 or something. We might just want to remind it that it needs to use the right port.
As a separate, like a follow-up message?
Well, let's see what happens here. If it's still having trouble, I'm just wondering if it might be is it possible that it's a port issue? I wasn't expecting us to have so much difficulty with Lexi. I've never experienced that before.
How would you usually do it? I almost feel like if I were to start over from a new session right now, I would start by saying, get the Lexi sidecar running. Here's the secret. Here's the repo code. Like, get the sidecar running and get that thing working in isolation. And then maybe layer in like, okay, now request the credentials. Okay, now build the rooms. Almost like do it from the inside out. That's at least how I usually think about these problems, is try to get like the core thing working and then get the things around it and the things around it and the things around it.
Yeah. In this example, though, what is the core? You could say like the core mechanic is the whole like game room mechanic. Two people, so we did proceed that way, just with a different notion of what the core interaction is. And had this, this really should be kind of just commoditized and just work. It is not actually that hard. It's like get a binary going with a credential.
Okay, it's got the new credentials loaded. Interesting. Is it reasonable that they would be different number of characters? I would have guessed they would be the same, but maybe there's an encoding thing where it bridges to a different. Maybe the way it encodes is different.
No idea. We'd have to ask Max or Philip.
Let me get the sidecar process directly to see if it's getting any errors. Still getting
it's still
invalid environment value.
It's ridiculous. What?
It should work flawlessly with the demo system.
Nope. Okay, maybe as a last thing to try, maybe you just say like.
But I can't kill this, right?
Well, no, just let it terminate. But maybe when it terminates, as the last thing to try, like copy that string. So like you must not use the literal string.
Right.
That. Instead, instead in the .env file, you should paste the actual credential value and use it, and maybe turn the model to the high power model, because maybe just this low power model is just.
Okay, so we're flipping on this thing. I understand. And then so we're still having a tough time getting the Lexi sidecar to work, and that is by far the most important thing to focus on right now. We must get the Lexi sidecar working, and we have very specific knowledge of how it's failing. We see continued attempts to use the environment variable name instead of the actual secret. That cannot be. It will not start up properly. The sidecar cannot be started up with an environment variable name placeholder. We must actually resolve to the secret itself. And so I'm going to paste the secret again here to confirm that we're using the right thing. Does that sound like a good? Oh, yeah. Not that one. I had the thing in my paste buffer, the Lexi, the thing we don't want it to use. So I'm going to copy.
You can just grab it again from Signal. It's still there.
Signal. Okay, got that. And I'm going to paste that into here. It's now pasting it as an attachment because it's kind of longish. And we're doing this now with this. Is this the icon? This means high power model.
Yep.
Great news. I can see the error has changed. A certificate parsing error. Credentials are being passed correctly, but there's an issue with the certificate format. Yeah, that's actually a good point. The high power model, I mean, I guess I've gotten, like I mentioned, I do kind of everything with the high power model now. But I think I've gotten a little too accustomed to the quality of it that when you start backing down to inferior models, it can get kind of frustrating. So it really is a very, very different. I'm still seeing the literal text. Okay, so it's pursuing the thing we're asking it to. It seems good that it's focused appropriately. I'd always thought that the place where the really high-powered models like Opus shine are kind of in the planning and architecture phase, and that's been my experience. Before I had the Max plan, it was dropping out of Opus frequently and going to Sonnet. And I felt like Sonnet's a great workhorse, but if you ask it very broad kind of architectural questions, that Sonnet will often have kind of, it feels like it's trying to put Band-Aids all over the place, whereas Opus kind of really zooms out like you'd hope an architect would do and really think through a problem space. This particular issue feels a little bit less of a zoom out architecture thing, but maybe it has enough complexity that it really will benefit from Opus. The binary shows it expects either client credentials as command line or this environment variable suggests somehow getting the literal string. So it does recognize exactly what we're describing here.
Yeah.
That's problematic.
If you go into if you open the file sidebar on the left side to look at the files, and you go into the .m file.
Where is that? Is that?
It's the second one under the home icon at the top left.
This guy.
That is there a .m file somewhere?
.m? Is that a
.env? .env.
Oh, env. Okay.
I guess it's.
I mean, I think the secrets separation is probably the .env file.
Yeah.
Right. Usually you store the secrets in the env. So I think this is just a page to manage it, and they probably try to keep it mostly not super visible. It's my guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually never touched the files in Replit.
I generally don't either. Okay, let's go back to the coding agent and see what it's saying.
It's a base 64 padding issue. So you've never had any of these kinds of like these encoding and padding issues?
No, I just had an encoding issue once. As I mentioned, there was a copy and paste issue where on iOS it was doing some kind of auto suggest, which was adding like an =0 at the end of the string, and that was fucking everything up. And so
it wouldn't surprise me if the thing that when I paste this into this input box, Replit kind of turns it into a document attachment, sort of. At least the UI makes it seem like that. And it wouldn't surprise me if in that process there's some encoding change or some sort of like extra characters that get.
It's possible. In the past, all I've had to do is paste into the secret management as you did initially. And even though it's 2,000 plus characters, it's always just worked in there. It can handle a seemingly arbitrary amount of text, and I've never had any issue. Yeah, this is a frustrating one to come up against.
What if I delete the Lexi client credentials secret and create a new one? Or here, I'll create this thing too. I'll add the value of your signal. So I'm going to paste that value here. I'm going to add that secret. And then what if I delete the first one? Right? Delete the original one I made and then add yours, just because. Does this seem like a good idea? Can I edit this? Yeah. And then now we have yours as the kind of, because I think this won't have the as likely, will be less likely to have the padding issues that are screwing up the. It says it's got it updated with proper padding. Sidecar is running. All right.
Amazing.
That sounds quite promising. How do you feel about it? Should we try running it again?
Scroll up for a second. I think it even stated a balance, didn't it?
Has 246813 sats ready for transactions. Is that what you have?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
my Lexi node.
Sounds very promising then. So let's go back to preview, and then we're going to launch the new version of the software. I'm going to create a game. I'm going to share this code with you on Signal.
Good. There still might be a game state management issue where it'll say full for me, but nevertheless, let's see if we get the invoice piece working. Maybe in post-production, we can go in and just remove the last 30 minutes of this video.
Okay, it's moved to the game state now where I can create a Lightning invoice. Ooh, and when I click it, I get a alert box that says failed to create invoice. Do you get that? I don't know if that's visible. Yeah, that's visible.
No, for me, it crashed on my side, but that's progress on your side. So why don't you give it that error?
Yep. Okay, it looks like we're making some progress. Good to see that the sidecar is up. The number of sats that you've listed ready for transactions is correct. That's verified by the holder of that wallet or of that Lightning node. The current problem I'm running into now, same sequence. I create the game room. I send a link to my friend. He tries to join. It does give me the button that says generate invoice. When I click the button to generate invoice, I get an alert box very quickly that says, I forget what the error was, but it was some sort of error that says it can't do it. But it was almost instantaneous. So I don't know why that might be. Maybe you could check the logs or instrument so that we can understand that better. But it's not presenting me with an invoice to pay. And that's an important next step to unlock. Any other detail or color you would add besides what I just said?
It's all good.
Okay, so I submitted that one. And it looked like it refreshed the... Now we're getting a certificate parsing error instead of the placeholder variable error. It looked like it was kind of... still getting this literal string.
What? What?
Wow.
Has it regressed? No. You've scrolled up all the way, haven't you?
Oh, did it? Oh, I thought I opened something. Yeah, I think it refreshed the state of the thing. Yep. That was before. I thought it refreshed the preview window, which made me wonder what was going on. You can see some WebSocket errors in the logs. I wonder if this is your white screen of patience.
Okay, we're past 90 minutes, by the way, just time check wise.
Right. I got that dog on the bone. We're almost, I feel like it's just, 6 inches from gold here. This is, it's part of the fun of building things is, when you feel like you're about to make a breakthrough and you're about to get the thing working that you've been trying to get working, you kind of like, for certain mindsets just keeps you sort of addicted to the next payoff.
That's right. It is true. It is addicting.
I think it's the new kind of like replacement for social media for a lot of people. You know, meaning like the dopamine hits that you get from getting a like or retweet or whatever, it can actually be replaced with like the process of creation. You make something and you get it working and you like push and push, and then the machine finally does what you want. You're like, it's that same type of delight.
It is.
But you
It is.
actually have made something for people, you know?
It is, and then further dopamine comes from when you get your first few users, the first friends that are using the app, first strangers using the app,
Yeah.
and I guess that's still the piece that's a little bit missing for me with vibe coding. Is everybody's creating a lot of new stuff, but it's hard for that new stuff to find users. And as a builder, like I don't necessarily even need a lot of users, but it would be nice if there's better way or mechanism to get my app in front of people.
Right. Well, I mean, have
Okay,
you actually tried much of that? I feel like you've kind of been quiet about your stuff.
I have been fairly quiet. So, things that I think are actually good, I do generally put out on my X feed. I just don't have a lot of followers. But I'm almost wondering if is there a new social media product here where the whole feed is just apps?
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like that
you scroll just vibe coded apps. That's all it is. New things every day. That's an interesting idea.
Did you ever play with castle.xyz?
No.
So it's Charlie Cheever.
Why don't you get me the game and then you can talk to me?
Okay. There, I sent you.
Thank you. Okay, that's loading. Castle.xyz. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's effectively like a TikTok for mini games. So it's basically like an iOS app. You open it, you get a game, you swipe, you get another game, you swipe, you get another game. You can kind of play a bunch of games. But it was built many years ago. I think it's had some real traction in certain categories. Got the invoice. I didn't get the alert error. This looks promising. Does the invoice show up?
Shouldn't take this long.
It shouldn't take that long.
Nope.
But Castle.xyz was built kind of before vibe coding was a thing, before machines were really good. So they have their own custom language, and kind of like Roblox, you can kind of learn it and make things, and people make little art project things. But I feel like, ooh, this is new. Server error 500. Okay, this is a kind of very specific error. So I'm going to feed this error back in. It says column payment player number.
Tell it that it's spun for 30 seconds. And then
I tried to generate the invoice. It spun for about 30 seconds. Then I got this in the alert box. So it looks like we're making progress, but still have problems. Let's fix it. Okay, this seems like it's better than it was. But yes, I think the idea that you're describing of like when you make something, how do you sort of get it out there? And I think, Twitter is good for certain types of products, but maybe not others. Most of the people I know who are like full-time building a lot of like new AI stuff actually share it on TikTok, and from time to time things go viral there, and that is a good way for people to discover new apps. So I think those are kind of the main things today. But yeah, there's not really like a hub where people go to find the new things, and that does seems like there should be some sort of almost like, Product Hunt has played this role at certain times, where it sort of helps
the bar for Product Hunt seems very high, right? Like here's a whole company that I'm announcing,
right?
Whereas this, what I have in mind is a relatively low polish, but like still good and interesting, and objects that you put out into the world, and the way in which they're interesting, the way in which they're polished would then be kind of like annotated and contributed by the community. Like people would get excited about certain things, be like, hey, this is actually good.
Yeah, just effectively the same is how TikTok observes how long you dwell on a given video, how many times you let it loop, etc. You could just present things to people, and depending on how much, like, do they bookmark it to use it later? Is it a game? Do they play it? Do they play it for 2 minutes or 10 minutes or a half hour? Such a platform could actually just observe what people are doing with it and actually make better.
It would be cool because the people, this would be cool on both sides of the marketplace, basically, right? Because users coming and consuming the feed come with an expectation of not just scrolling, but like engaging. Like, I'm coming to this feed to find something to use, because it's
Yeah.
all of like objects. The problem with X is you don't quite know what you get. It's mostly just media and content, and
Right.
right. So in the rare instant that there's an app you can use right now, it's kind of buried.
Right.
Okay, we're
So
going
it's
going
still-
again.
Yeah, it says when you click generate invoice now, you should successfully create.
Okay,
But it's still
let's go.
working. Or no, it's ready. It's ready
No,
to go.
it's done.
Okay. So we'll launch a new one. Yeah, I think there's something here that this thing you're talking about. I think there's a good idea in there somewhere.
And maybe we can vibe code that in a future session.
I bet we could.
Not to mention, you could also imagine some kind of Bitcoin angle to that, where maybe Bitcoin is used as a part of rewarding successful creators or upvoting things, similar to maybe Stacker News, like the idea of some zaps flowing around to help with the ranking algorithm. So it could kind of be Bitcoin native in that sense as well.
I mean, I guess vibe coding, broadly speaking, can be, you could vibe code a SaaS app, an art project, a game. So vibe coding may be too broad a lens to take on such a platform idea if it were to exist. But I think like a Bitcoin gaming arcade that you can vibe code new games into actually kind of makes sense. It's like enough of a focus. Maybe that's actually a nice way to bring our arcade dreams to life. Okay, we've got create. Okay, so we're back at the state. I'm gonna hit create. It says creating invoice. Come on. This is the 6 inches from gold. Do we get the payoff? Do we discover gold under this next chop of the axe? Is that how miners? How do miners get gold? They with a sluice or something?
With a literal pickaxe.
That's what I was imagining, but maybe that's too old school. I don't think
not
it's gonna
working.
work. No.
No.
Okay.
Should we try one more time and then call it a day? Just give ourselves one more opportunity. Okay.
Yeah. Do you have a good idea on what to do next?
No, my typical, and this is one of the vibe coding secrets is just persistence. Sometimes you just got to keep going at it. Be like, it's the same error again. It's the same error again. And, maybe it's added enough logging in the interim to like see the error and figure it out.
Yep. Okay. I'm still running into basically the same problem. I'm getting the invoice, generate invoice button. I tap it. It keeps spinning now. So it's not giving me an alert box that says that it fails, but it's not presenting me with a QR code. So I think it's still failing somehow. I think it's very promising that the Lexi sidecar is running and that you've reported the number of sats available from the Lexi sidecar. That's very promising that I feel like we're very close to a solution. But ultimately, the proof is in the pudding. I click the generate invoice. I need to see an invoice. And if I'm not able to see that, which I'm not, then we still have more work to do. So let's instrument this. Let's do whatever it takes, but figure out why it's not generating an invoice now.
Yeah, it's taken us so long to get Lexi working, and it's just such at odds with my usual experience of Lexi, where it, usually, within 13 minutes.
Oh, it did have a.
Yeah. Within 13 minutes, I've managed to like get a tipping app up and running, successfully, no issues. And so this is.
Yeah,
I think a bit of a disappointing session.
I think if we were to do this again, it did find an issue. Expiration sex, not expiry sex. Is that the number of seconds it takes to expire? That doesn't seem. Rejecting the invoice creation with a 400 bad request error. Oh, so it needs to specify the number of seconds it takes that invoice is valid for.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't specifying that, so Lexi was considering it an invalid request. Okay, so actually that does seem kind of promising.
This sounds promising.
Okay, I'm feeling pretty good. It's still working, so I'm going to wait until it says it's ready before I launch. Let me wait for the sidecar to be ready. It shouldn't matter. I should be able to launch the website before, but I just want to make sure that
just wait.
Agent here is done working and turns it back over to me before I launch it. Breakthrough, invoice generation fixed. Lightning invoice generation is now working.
Breakthrough.
Okay.
I started seeing
Okay.
that in my chain of thought as well recently.
Yeah.
That's breakthrough.
That's pretty fun when it happens. I do feel like
Yeah.
when it happens,
Yeah.
it's kind of
Okay, here we go. Now I'm pretty
okay.
confident
Agent is
with the
ready.
break. Yeah, I don't think it
Yeah,
throws around breakthrough willy-nilly.
I'm feeling pretty good about this too. I'm feeling lucky. Okay, I sent you that thing.
Send me this thing. I'm joining the thing.
Let's see if the breakthrough is really broken through.
And the real question is what's going to happen at the end? If we get through, will there be a game played? Will there be a winner? Will there be a payout?
Those things seem easy compared to the stuff that we've been messing with. I think we're getting through the hard part here.
Yeah.
Are you still waiting? You haven't joined the room yet?
I'm not joined yet. It's still spinning or still white
Okay.
screen on my side.
So it's still waiting for second play.
There
Okay,
you go.
deposit required. Let's go.
Come on.
Let's go.
Ooh.
A few more seconds. No,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen.
My dreams are crushed.
Do you want to leave it there?
Yeah, I think this may be a good stopping point for the Vibecast for today. We're a little over and don't really have this this working yet, but we've run far enough over. I think just for closure on this, you know, oh, it actually gave a good alert. I really can't let this go. So why don't we give some closure? Do you want to summarize maybe what you might do next or differently, or sort of like if like, I mean, I feel like we could go in with this path as is. Oh, I can't let it go. I can't let it go.
Good progress.
But if you want to, you know, if you have other things you have to do, well, if you have other things you want to do.
Do you think it just made a change? Okay, let's go. Let's go one last time.
But I'm saying like, yeah, I think it did. I reported the alert box bug that it gave, and I think it did. It says agent ready. Create new game. Seems to be operating a little slower this time than before.
Yeah, I would just kill this tab and go back to Replit, and I'd refresh the server and then
Refresh from here, like the browser.
Yeah.
Everything's very slow right now. Anytime I've tried to reload this, it seems slow, and even this tab.
Sometimes when this happens to me, I just tell agent, say, please restart the server. So I can test.
Please restart the server. You think something just got messed up?
This is my plug it in, plug it out, and plug it in again command.
Okay. Seems promising. Okay. Now when I click it out, weird, it's not launching a new tab when I tap it. Maybe because it's still kind of working. It says agent is ready. It's loading your page still. I guess this one has to load first before it'll load.
Okay.
Let me launch. Okay. Launching as a separate tab here.
Just try running inside the.
Okay, we'll do it here.
Oh, but that's also not working. Something's wrong. Oh.
Whoa, that went right to deposit required? That's
not
very odd,
should
isn't
not
it?
have. Yeah,
That
that's
should
odd.
not.
That's something has become messed up.
I wonder if it. Weird. It says deposit recorded. There's no button here. That's very strange.
Mhm.
So I clicked create game.
I'm not sure, DK.
Yeah. Okay.
You could you could tell it, what you're seeing, like it's something's broken. I now click the button, and I'm not taken to.
It looks like it's loading, but not. But anyway, I think you were talking about kind of trying to wrap. Do you want to give a little summary or kind of thinking about next steps, or if we were to do this again, anything you would do differently, or kind of?
I don't know. The path that we went down, I thought was very reasonable in terms of getting basic functionality for the whole web app to work, which we did by and large, and then tried to add the Lexi functionality. As I said at the outset, though, when I built previous slings, I've kind of mashed together the Bitcoin functionality and the app functionality, like the basics of both, in an initial prompt. And like maybe we should have been more specific about some Lexi stuff in the beginning, or tried your approach of just getting a very kind of bare bones, Lexi sidecar up and running first. Like, basically build a bare, Python web server that connects to Lexi and can generate an invoice. I've never built that way, and so maybe in a future session we can try that approach, and then layer on the application functionality on top of that. I think that would be interesting to try. But it is the nature of vibe coding as well that it is kind of probabilistic. You set down a path, and sometimes it works out and it's amazing, and other times it doesn't work out. And we could have restarted this entire thing and gone down the same path, and it might have worked out much better, much more quickly for us. And so what we've experienced today is a little bit just the nature of vibe coding, unfortunately. Because as I've said, I've vibe coded a lot with Lexi using exactly the type of prompt and information that I provided you with, and we gave the agent. And I've seen lots of different errors with the sidecar not starting up, and usually I could just subsequent prompt get it going. I've never seen the type of failure that we saw today with the client credential. That was just very strange. Another maybe thing that we might have done sooner is switch to the higher power model sooner. Because I'm a little bit suspicious maybe that Replit behind the scenes, for cost savings in the default state, maybe it is downgrading us and users in general to a lower power model that's not even, Sonnet 4. Maybe it's even something less capable. I'm not sure. Because its capabilities that we experience do seem less powerful than I've experienced in the past. And so maybe when we do these things in the future, we should just run on the high power model out of the gates. That's what I did last week. And the results were a little bit better.
Especially for some of the first steps. So like if you're, some of the things that, like, I think we went into this, even last night we were texting about what we might do. And I was saying every time I've tried something with like Bitcoin, Lightning, Nostr, I always end up finding that to be challenging or kind of in certain ways. Whereas like the web app to let people join rooms or, decide payouts or have a, winner loser, those are obviously trivially easy. So I do feel like, if you can identify, just like as general principle of vibe coding, if you can identify the parts that you think are riskiest or most challenging or where you're likely to run into problems and get those working independent of everything else. And then the rest of it, in a sense, like the web application itself is kind of window dressing. It's very easy.
True.
Like it's so unlikely to have a problem with it that I would almost just consider it like a done, but the hard part is the hard part. So if you can identify the hard part up front, that'll help. And then separately, I think there's another kind of broad principle in vibe coding that I'll leave here kind of as a summary, which is, when we're building software, let's say in the traditional way, there's such a cost to everything you've accomplished that you'd never want to let it go. And you're like, well, I've already gotten through the website works and it kind of has these game room things and these generating these share codes. So I'm like hesitant to give that up because I spent the time to make it work. But it's sort of a bug in how we think about coding, which is like now software is basically free. And so even though we kind of accomplished something, we should have no attachment to it. We should be very willing to throw it out. And if we get less attachment to it, I think it helps us say, well, I think what I would do if I wanted to make this work right now, I think what I would do is I would literally abandon this project. I would start a brand new project and I would just get Lexi Sidecar working. And then I would get Lexi's generating invoices. And I think just giving up the path of assumed progress and starting down a new path that's totally fresh, it resets the context. Like it probably these environment variable things that you haven't run into with Lexi before that they keep seeming to be kind of pernicious, persistent problems. Maybe they would actually go away if we were to start anew, but it's hard to get the LLM to like undo its beliefs about this path that it's pursuing. And I think the best way to get it to undo its beliefs is just like start a new project.
Clean slated.
I feel like we should be much less attached to the sense of progress we've made and much more focused on like, let me do a reset from scratch because it's all going to be easy. Now that I know the hard part, let's get the hard part done and working, and then we can build the rest of that.
Yeah. The only thing that kind of surprised me was that the Lexi thing ended up being the hard part because it's never been the hard part for me in the past. But yeah, and so maybe you or I out of band, should try to rebuild it from scratch. If we have time, and see if we can actually get to the desired endpoint. Because I still like this idea, this basic mechanic to prove it out of a player pledges, another player pledges, something happens, and there's a payout. That remains a very, I think, useful and generic mechanic that we should try to bring to life. And if one of us can do it, we should do it and kind of put it out there for the world to see it and improve upon it.
Further, I would say I think this concept, if we get that mechanic working, and we have some sense of like wallets and payments and stuff. And I think actually this is step one of the Bitcoin arcade, right? And so we could take this infrastructure that we build, and then we could, if we want to build a different vibe coding game, next week, or we want to adapt your Samely game, Samely.fun, we want to turn into like a Bitcoin payment version of Samely.fun. I feel like we kind of can lay a foundation of infrastructure that lets us build the next episodes of the Vibecast together, where we're actually, kind of building upon, compounding on the stuff that we have achieved. So I think it is worth
that would be very cool if we can get to a point where we vibe code something that is generically useful that is then reused in another vibe coding thing we build. That would be a pretty amazing point to be. I have not yet done that or achieved that, but that would be quite a proof point if we could do that.
I feel like I don't have any hesitation that we can do that. If we want to do that, we can do that. There's no hesitation. We just have to get this core piece working. But I think it does generalize in such a way that, sort of unlocks a bunch of other things we could do and makes them a lot simpler. So I'm a fan. I think we should, we'll either jam through it offline or maybe we'll start afresh next time with that. But
I will just say, if we wanted to build something that was going to be kind of a generic piece of infrastructure that could be reusable, the way we build it and what we build might look a little bit different, as opposed to having something that has a lot of app experience built around it, right? Like you might start from the get-go being like, we're going to build a generically useful library, and these are the things that it's going to do. Under the hood, it's going to, hit the Lexi API, but it can support a number of end users end players. And, so I think you would build it more as kind of almost like an API driven library as opposed to an app. But, I personally, if I was going to go down the path, and I might, or let's talk about it afterwards, would first like to prove that I can make it work in an application first. Again, like round out the hard edges here, figure it out, and then go build that more generic piece in a kind of tighter, more focused way.
Yeah, agreed. I think we sort of like, we started as, users with the desire to do the thing. And then we sort of discovered this piece of infrastructure. We could do the infrastructure independently as its own Replit project. And then we could contribute that as open source code that we or anybody else could use. And then we could just tell a new Replit project, use this infrastructure. And actually, I guess part of it is the Lexi wrapping and the wallets and stuff is like one piece of infrastructure. And then you mentioned kind of like Stacker News like discovery. So maybe if we were to do like the Bitcoin arcade, we would build a separate website that's kind of that discovery hub. So in a sense, there's sort of three things at least. There's two pieces of infrastructure in one example, which is one is how do you wrap all these wallets? The other is what is the discovery hub? And then the other is like what is game number one? And then maybe there's a feature on the discovery hub to like submit a game and you can do game 2 through N.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm kind of excited about this. I say we
cool.
keep pushing on it.
Yeah, we will.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
Well,
let's
that's
leave it there,
it then for today. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks
Good to see you,
everyone
Matt.
for watching. See you next
Bye-bye.
time.